Hunting has been our life. It's about harvesting from the wild. Ever since their introduction about 120 years ago, deer, pigs, chamois and tahr have been highly sought after both as a game animal and for the best quality free-range meat available. While government agencies tend to eradicate these animals for no use, for the hunter nothing is wasted. Anything we shoot, we carry out. The venison industry, which began in the 1960s, brought millions of dollars into the country, creating a great resource. She's rugged country out there and not to be taken lightly, but every day's a new adventure, and if it was easy, it just wouldn't be the same.
We put a lot of hard work into the last one. This is the third day, and finally it's paid off. It really makes it all worthwhile, eh? All that hard yakka. Yeah.
Hunting thick bush on public land is the ultimate challenge, and it's what we know best. Nothing gets the adrenaline pumping like an angry wild animal at close range. How hard is that?
Oh, there's a lot to be said for hunting flat areas, I'll tell you. But damn, it's slippery. Slippery and steep as usual, and they're usually in an ugly little spot. Beautiful sound of a crazy stag. Sounds like he's one of the three tenors.
There's a lot of bush out there, and often finding a stag means climbing high.
We're probably 2 hours up from the bottom, but just got into a little bit of action just here. That stag came in fast. We only just heard him roar. He'd stopped, and I knew instantly when he stopped like that and he's just almost going to smell us, and it's hard to get them going again, so I had to take the shot. There you go. I mean, that's all you can do. You've just got to take the shot at times. So it looks like about an 8. Boy, it can happen fast, I'll promise you. Came in beautifully. Exciting, just quick, bang. And there it is. It's all over.
You know, it's all pretty steep country, so you're puffing and panting. This is real and wild, hard yakka. It's rewarding though, when you're out here doing the real stuff. It's not on the back of a farm or anything like that.
Oh, crikey, I was pretty close to him here. You get to the point where you think, heck, are they going to have a go at you? But that's the most exciting thing. I mean, what we're really after is the roaring stag coming in, you know, punch you over and put a hole through you.
I was about to give up back there. I was thinking, oh, this is hopeless. I'll never catch him, you know. Then suddenly, he'd obviously had a bit much of me getting too close. I gave him a bit of violence, and back he comes, and I was right in the thick of it, right in the pepperwood. And down he comes, and it was just magnificent. I mean, I think at one stage it can't have been much more than a metre. It was unbelievable. That's what it's about, boy. That is it.
Yeah, astounding. Boy, we were looking for him to come over here, and he's just sneaking through here and then pokes his nose through. I didn't even bother taking a shot because I'm stuck behind this tree here, so I didn't even bother, you know. Steep country. Just a weird little spot where no one's been. Give a roar, get a response. Can't believe it. And this is good because we can get tucked down a little bit. It's about how close you want him to come, and then the wind. Because once he gets to that close point, he'd probably put his head down and give you one. Is he going to go here or what? Hey? He come in close there, didn't he? Just saw my little shaky little cheeks going. By crikey, that's what it's about, friends. That's what it's about.
Oh, wow. These things are getting heavier than they used to be. You could well say, well, why didn't you cut it up, cut it in half? But when you're doing it for money, it was necessary to bring them out whole because they wouldn't take animals that were cut up, you see, so that's the problem we had. I've carried out literally several thousand of these on my back because there's no other way to do it. And yet, touch wood, so far I've had no back trouble. As far as the way of life went, in a lot of ways it was absolutely marvellous because you had no boss, nobody to tell you, you know, what you've got to do. You worked according to your own time frame, you know. It was generally 7 days a week when the weather was clement enough, but you've got to remember that there were a lot of really hard and bad times. I mean, everything in the garden's rosy. When the weather's fine, You don't have to work too hard for your animal, but you had to put up with terrible climatic conditions a lot of the time. You get an oversupply of rain in this high bush country and all that, and it gets miserably cold. And the demand on the body tended to be extreme, because it wouldn't have been so bad if you just had to be bushwalking all day, and I'm not talking about walking along tracks. Most of it was cross-country, up and down through tangles and up steeps, down steep slopes and all this sort of stuff. But once you got an animal, you've got to get that out over the same sort of awful countryside, so it wasn't easy.
How much? It's got to be around 90 to 95 kilo. We were thinking he could have possibly been 100, but I don't think he'll go 100.
By using the frame for carrying deer, it puts a lot less strain on your upper back and locates most of the weight over your hips. Admittedly, it does make the load quite wide, and getting through tight bush can be challenging at times.
Sort of trapped there a little bit, I think. Worst part, of course, is sinking. When you sink into the swamp up to your frame and knees, it's not too good.
Egan has managed to survive a life of meat hunting spanning a period of over 3 decades without any notable hip or back problems. This is the second frame Father has used during his career. The first one was apparently a slightly better design, but unfortunately he left it on the side of the road one time after loading several carcasses into the old van. So no doubt some lucky hunters scored themselves a fine piece of equipment. That was about 25 years ago, so I'd have to say this one's done pretty well for itself. Over that period it suffered many injuries, such as backing the vehicle over the top of it and straps breaking due to leather fatigue, but we've always managed to repair it ready for the next load. Carrying whole carcasses of this weight across rivers is not something we recommend, unless you know what you're doing. Remember, we've been doing this all our lives, so it becomes second nature.
It's a bit horrible. There's lots of pools, and I'm trying to stay to the shallow bits. There's lots of deep bits everywhere, and I don't want to slip in.
For the average hunter, there's no real necessity to carry out a whole carcass. It's often a good idea to cut it up. Unfortunately, in our case, when we're selling the animal, it must be intact with the offal included. We always feel a great sense of achievement when we reach the road with a large stag because of the sheer effort and determination that goes into it. The heaviest stag we have ever carried out using this method was 126 kilo, or 277 pounds. This was an 8-hour carry over a considerable distance, and needless to say we were delighted to get the beast on the scales. Look at that, eh? That's quite a beauty. 7 points on that. Now, of course, we're always looking for any sign of a stag, whether it's a bit of fresh rub-ends or marks on the ground and drop-ins, all that sort of thing. But when you actually find a cast like this, you know the true potential of the stags in the area. Now that, if it's the same the other side, you've got a 14-pointer. And with any luck, of course, he's bigger this year because the stags, they cast their set every year and grow a new set. So it could get bigger and bigger, you know, until he reaches his true potential. And one like that's pretty hard to find these days. Years ago we used to find cast antlers quite regularly, but now the deer numbers are a lot lower and it's quite a novelty to actually find one. I might actually take that home with me because that's quite a pretty bit of antler. Yesterday there was a southerly change, so I noticed there's quite a bit of snow up on the tops this morning. Brought a bit of a bite in the air. Did you get? Yeah, a little bit of excitement there, eh? Tell you what, still get your heart going. It's a little yearling there.
Pretty little thing, just feeding in the bush. Beautiful, isn't it? Just, like, it makes the forest just come alive when you've got an animal in there, isn't it? You get a couple of shots further back, take the risk, sneak up, you might get a couple more. Just cracked a stick at the wrong time, I think. I don't think it smelt us. Anyway, that was a marvellous little episode.
I actually came up this area about 2 weeks ago and I heard a roar further away, but it was really, really windy, gusting, and I could hear him roaring from lower down, and it was sort of hard to hear because he was up high and he was in a little dip, and sort of you can hear a faint echo of it, but I couldn't tell which direction. And of course it was a bit thick, you know, you couldn't see very far at that stage. And I guess it was fortunate that he did just go just to the side below me there, because that way he was just out of the wind direction. Then he starts whacking that tree, and I had to be very careful not to make any like cracking. I was trying to move to get a better view. You would be lucky if it was 5 metres away from me. I mean, that's what you come out here for. Fantastic. On the west coast of the South Island, a trip into the Southern Alps in midwinter offers spectacular views, but getting around can be difficult due to heavy snow and ice.
We're at the head of a valley. As you can see, mountains all around. Anyway, we'll mooch down this way, down the valley, swing around, and then just work our way up and see how we get on.
Glassing for animals against the snow usually produces good results, as they stand out like a sore thumb. Although more often than not, they're way up high out of reach. But it's nice when you run into the odd one lower down on your way up.
It was quite low, moving around, and then the wind changed. You got a whiff of us. It started to run up the hill, as you saw. Well, that's the way it goes out here.
Well, that was a good little episode, eh? It was. Got a few good shots there by the look of it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things when you see them from a long way away, like right down the creek there. That's where we began. And then you wonder, are they still going to be there when you get there? Fortunately for us, they were.
Oh, look, they're causing all sorts of disturbance up there.
The only place they can go from there is either up the steep rocky face, or they've got to come down towards us.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to choose going up.
They're not coming down here. It's steep, but this is quite a smooth bit of snow here. Hopefully the underneath, you know, it's got the strength to hold us. We're at 1350 metres. So let's keep going.
Now Mount Cook is about 3,754 metres above sea level, so she's pretty high, you know, and in the Southern Alps we've got 16 peaks that are higher than 3,000 metres, so she's a rugged place, and apparently there's about 3,000 glaciers that are larger than a hectare in size, so you can imagine around every corner there's obstacles.
It's a bit spooky walking through this heavy snow like this. I just fell up to my chest and couldn't feel the ground, had to work my way out. So it's you really probably should have one of those poke poles, that's what I'd call it. 3 or 4 Kia flying around here, marvellous to see them.
Well, she's tough going up here. We've climbed really high tonight to try and get above those tar we saw last night. Unfortunately they're not there. I suppose that's predictable, but oh well, you've got to keep trying because you just never know when it could pay off. But we've only got probably 40 minutes before dark, so it's time to get cracking.
So we're heading back down and set up camp, shall we?
Yeah, I think so.
We've seen one or two, but you just got to get in close. I mean, obviously you can see the odd one in the open perhaps, but getting near it is a whole different matter, isn't it?
It's actually astounding how much wildlife there is up here at this altitude. I mean, we've got the goats, the tar and the chamois, but you've also got wekas, the odd kia, you've got a few tomtits around and a few other little birds flittering around the place. The odd hare, you see the tracks going through the snow, it's good to see.
There's a little bit of brown fur in there. See if you can zoom in on it, Sean.
Most tar are shot out on open faces or bluffs at long range, so we were quite rapt to be within 10 metres.
Boy, all I could make out was that beautiful mane. And I just see this fluff ball just moving away down there. I hope he hasn't run. Of course, it's very easy to lose your patience in this jungle.
While it's always great to see an animal at any distance, it's the close encounters that we really love, and sometimes it can happen when you least expect it.